Welcome to Rose Call. My name is Thee, and we're going to be journaling with oracle cards. Here we have the energies of Mary Magdalene, the Rose, and Mother Mary. Here is all about you receiving your own messages, utilizing your gifts, going within, using your imagination. What do the cards say to you? What are the energies saying to you? Have you been seeing roses everywhere? Have you been curious about Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene? Do you just want to try something new? Mary Magdalene. The Rose. Mother Mary. The egg. Everything comes from within. You know, I'm curious about inner dialogue. I was just having a conversation with someone about inner dialogue and basically the conversation we have with ourselves. The ritual of our lives, the thought patterns. Like, what do we really be saying to ourselves throughout the day? Like, I know this probably random, but I don't know, I just feel like it matters. Like the things that we think about, the things that we dwell on, the things that we worry about. Instead of dwelling on something that happened, instead of worrying that something will happen, like we should be more present. Not only that, but we should think about the things we desire, the things we want to happen, the things we want to prepare ourselves for. Think about the things that we want to be, but think about it in the present tense, like that's who we are, that's where we are now. I don't know, that's just so random. The egg. Everything comes from within. According to the Gospel of Thomas, if you bring forth what is within you, what is within you will save you. The Gospel of Thomas was excluded from the formation in the Bible in the 4th century, along with the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. The emphasis in the Gospel of Thomas is similar to the spiritual path revealed in Mary's Gospel of uniting the self and the soul, of becoming fully human. Like, what's within us, like our world, I don't know why I keep wanting to talk and I'm not supposed to be talking, but our inner world reflects our outer world. So if we are in a situation that we don't want to be in, if we're at a job we don't want to be in, if we are anything that's going on in our lives that we necessarily don't want to be a part of, instead of blaming outside circumstances, just check yourself, check in with yourself. What decisions have you been making? What thought patterns have you been having? What thought forms? Like, what's going on within you that's causing whatever outside of you? In many paintings and icons of Mary Magdalene, she's depicted as holding an egg. This relates to the legend that she gave testimony before the court of Tiberius Caesar after witnessing the resurrection. She picked up an egg in order to teach them about the body, the resurrection. After 2 decades of scholarship, why can't I talk? Wait a minute now. Third house shenanigans. Third house stellium. Jesus. Okay. After 2 decades of scholarship and devotion to Mary Magdalene, I think this is the message Mary offers in pointing us to the egg. Everything comes from within. All life exists within us, rather than external to us, which is how so many of us live our entire lives. Focused outward, to the beauty, to the beautiful, lovely things of this world, and to the painful, heartbreaking things of this world that could, if we let them, occupy every second of every day. I believe that when Mary witnessed Christ's resurrection, it was not with her eyes, but with the spiritual eye of the heart. I believe she received the visions of him from within her long before he was crucified. I believe Mary learned how to live from the inside out. I believe Mary embodied and mastered the truth that everything comes from within. I believe Mary understood that the heart is a mediator between the worlds. I believe Christ revealed to her the love she can always source there from within the heart. I believe she brought forth what was within her, a love that never dies, a love that never ends. I believe that Mary points us to the truth of the egg, still to this day, to this moment you're reading this, because once we understand that everything comes from within, once we learn to turn inward for direction on what's next, for validation and self-worth, when we then have access to everything we need to save ourselves and the world around us. Soul Voice Meditation. What am I ready to bring forth from within me? What am I ready to bring forth from within me? What ideas you've been sitting on? What you've been pondering about? What you've been wanting to do for years and years and years, but constantly been in your own way, constantly procrastinating, just making excuses, playing in your own face, wasting time. What do you want to do? What is stopping you? The longer you allow external circumstances to dictate when you do something, you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. Because it's always going to be something. It's always going to be this, that, or something else. So it just goes back to that internal dialogue. Do you tell yourself that you're worthy now? Or do you just keep making excuses? The Thorn. Protection. Boundaries. Clear communication. The rose is the queen of all flowers. Her soft and often fragrant bloom takes our breath away from near and far. A bridge between heaven and earth. She has the capacity to act as a portal to our true selves and call our soul more fully into our body. She leaves us in awe, allowing us to experience heaven on earth for a very precious moment. But the rose is not all gentle and soft. In fact, Most roses are armored with spiky thorns, prickles of various shapes, sizes. These sharp protectors act like knights defending their queen, clearly setting the necessary boundary and conditions for her to do what she was born to do. We too are like the rose. So often we don't get taught how important clear communication and loving boundaries are to our relationships. When we are not clear on our needs, when we don't communicate them, when we don't take responsibility for them, it's impossible for others to give us what we need. This often results in a breakdown in the relationship. Communicating our needs and establishing our boundaries allows not just us to feel safe, but those that we're in a relationship with to feel safe too. This card delivers the message of the importance of clear communication, boundaries, and taking responsibility for our needs. To be clear with others, we must first be clear with ourselves, and then communicate this to our loved ones and the world. Soul inquiry. What loving boundaries are you being called to establish? How are you being called to communicate clearly to those you're in a relationship with? Sorry. What loving boundaries are you being called to establish? How are you being called to communicate clearly to those you're in a relationship with? Relationships includes friendships. Relationships include co-workers. Our Lady of the Sacred Sun. My beloved Son, my Christ, lives in your hearts, for you are the sons and daughters of love. The Christ is a consciousness of love that belongs to every human soul and will awaken in those that are ready to receive it now, through my grace. I ask you to realize that you carry this divine flame of love within. For you, my sons and daughters, it is time for a divine awakening of sacred masculine energy within you now. Just as I birthed the Christ child through love, so too will you birth enlightened divine masculine energy through the love and power of the divine feminine now. This is your time for sacred birth. The divine Christ lives in the hearts of men and women. As a divine love and passionate service of the divine light, irrespective of religious persuasion. The divine light is in whatever form we believe it to be, whether that be Allah, God, Krishna, Shiva, or a guru, the universe, anything else. Provided that it is love you are serving, then the Christ consciousness or unconditional divine wisdom, love, and power that the Holy Mother seeks to awaken within us can live in you. Our Lady of the Sacred Sun speaks to us of a healed masculine consciousness of the Christ awakening in men and women. This becomes possible through the love and power of the divine feminine awakened. The divine feminine holds up space for love, for acceptance of all beings, for truth and for compassion, so that a new masculinity can emerge in modern humanity. Healed masculine consciousness is what allows us to discern and make choices and to set boundaries. It also allows us to say yes or no based on our own values. It allows us to say yes or no based on our own values, which are not blindly adopted from our family or society, but distilled from our own innermost feelings and heart wisdom. Again, that inner dialogue. A healed divine masculine gives us the courage to live our own life and the strength that we need to honor our individuality and making choices that feel truthful for us. It enables us to understand that our divine gift of self is meant to be lived as authentically and honestly as possible. A healed divine masculine consciousness is freed from needing approval through popular opinion or being liked by fulfilling the expectations or conditions that others may seek to impose. A healed divine masculine consciousness is empowered to accept and honor the self, accepting one's sexuality, individuality, and particularly self with all its quirks. It can do this because it understands that the divine lives in all beings, and no one is required to be the same as anyone else in order to be worthy of complete unconditional divine love. The divine consciousness of the Christ is willing to live truthfully, even when it ruffles feathers or shakes foundations. It understands that truth will be preserved, even through great transformation or upheaval of change. This consciousness is willing to live truthfully, even when that means letting go of lower vibrational relationship patterns that are based in fear, judgment, or control or power. We let go of these patterns in order to open up to new ways of relating which are based in truth, acceptance, discernment, freedom of choice. When we are entering more deeply into this higher consciousness, change happens. Sometimes this can be challenging as we are learning to let go of our fears and to trust without condition. Even if we are struggling, we must learn to focus on the light within, to stay present. Sometimes that struggle is actually the ego letting go, and we are identifying with it. It can be very compelling and believable. Yet whilst that struggle is happening, the soul is gasping and taking in the holy breath of new life, and we are thriving spiritually, more infused with holy love and power than ever before. Our Lady of the Sacred Sun comes to us with several messages. Spiritually, you are maturing, and this may give a rise in growing pains, but keep them in context and perspective. Pray to her to help you so that your growing pains do not eclipse the magnificence and joy of the process that is actually happening for you at a greater, larger level. Psychologically and physically, you are asked to place some boundaries in your life. This may require you to say no to people, places, or things that drain you, or to protect yourself thoroughly through prayer. But also the following healing process each and every day for a few moments before venturing into such spaces. If you have ever been feeling a sense of love or feeling a sense of guidance around you without quite being able to identify who it is on a spiritual level, then this oracle comes as confirmation that it is the living Christ in one form or another who is guiding you now. Open your heart to unconditional love and know that you are protected, supported spiritually in all aspects of your life. Just remember to ask for help daily. You can start this process now. You'll reap the benefits of doing so, but it'll take all the strength of your inner masculine consciousness to make the decision to commit to that practice for yourself and to adhere to it daily until it becomes a natural and habitable practice. habitual, maybe. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know. Third house shenanigans. So maybe you've been feeling like something is no longer for you. And that's because it isn't. And it's up to you to put that boundary on yourself. What are you going to allow? What are you not going to allow? Are you going to allow yourself to sit and dwell and to marinate in something you don't want to be? Even if it's a job and you're staying because you feel like you don't have a choice, or you feel like the job market is just not great right now and you feel like it would be more secure to stay based on that. That's a lack mentality, because it don't matter what the job market is. If you are in something that is draining you, that is making you feel resentment, anything that you're tired of, set a boundary to show up for yourself, to honor your inner divinity, your inner voice, your inner truth, your heart's desires. What's coming from within is your truth. So if you're sitting at a job, at a desk, working for your money, your income, to be able to pay the rent, buy the food, take care of the family, right? But inside, you feel a void. It's like, it's going back to the concept of, are you feeding your ego or are you feeding your soul? Because having a steady paycheck, paying the rent, being able to go to the grocery store, being able to go out, go on vacations, yes, we do need those things in this realm. It's very, very true. But after we do it so much, you realize something inside of me is still not satisfied. And that's when you have to just sit with yourself and go within to see what your soul is yearning for, and give it to it. Feed your soul. If you cool with somebody, right? But every time you get around them, or every time you about to talk to them, you get a feeling in your stomach. Everything comes from within. So that feeling that's coming from your stomach, you're not getting that for no reason. If you've been constantly having the same ideas, or been wanting to do the same thing, or getting the same signs and symbols, it's for a reason. Having boundaries with other people And like things outside of us is cool, yes, it's a necessity. But having boundaries with ourselves matters even more. Because if you're not gonna show up for yourself, ain't nobody else gonna show up for you. If you're not gonna keep your word to yourself, how can you keep your word to others? Why would you even expect other people to keep their word to you if you're not doing it? Ma'am? Ma'am? I also love that with this card, it's symbolism for within. And this card has symbolism for external things. And then it's 15 is 6. Having that balance within us will bring the balance like outside of us, externally. Ma'am? 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 Thank you for joining, for watching, for being understanding about my third house stellium shenanigans. I don't know why my mouth be saying different words than what my brain sees. It's just, I don't know, third house stellium shenanigans, but I do hope this was beneficial. I do hope you were able to journal. I do hope you were able to receive your own messages regardless of anything that I've said. And peace.